Hey guys, welcome back to this next episode, and I hope the last episode was quite convincing, and I hope that you are successful in creating a full storage system. I promised you that I will add the empty slots, and this is what I will show you after this episode. So it will also be part of this current episode, but before I will show you how to add the empty slots, it's just a function, and we need to trigger this function on two. I think, I will show you later, but it's just one function. This function always needs to be triggered at the right time, and I think this is happening twice when we are using our storage. And so then we will always have empty slots. Good, but as you can see, I modeled a so-called hammer. So I did this this morning. It took me a couple of hours just to model it, and then I just created some kind of wood, textured it in Substance Painter, and then I created some kind of hammer head shape and also like a barbed wire with like using a curve modifier in Blender. So this is what you can see. I also did this stuff here, so you have this double head hammer, which is a little bloody at the same time, and I gave it like a little bit of some kind of grip. So yeah, it's not a hammer you can buy in a store or something, but I think it looks nice. It's good, and I think it looks brutal as well because look at these wires. So yeah. So I'm done, and I'm also done with like completely implementing the whole logic into our project here. So now you can use a hammer. Let me just show you what you can do after this episode. If you follow along, you can pick up your hammer or knife or baseball bat, or maybe you have some kind of sword or machete. I wanted to go with machete, but then I was like, hey, what about hammer? A little bit bloody and barbed wire should be fucking brutal, right? Good. So I can pick up the hammer. You can see the item image. I can equip it. I don't have a locomotion for this hammer. I don't need it, and I was trying to use it. I had some kind of like sword and shield locomotion, but it didn't look right. It looked weird. So this is why I just keep using the standard move locomotion we have with our pistol. So we don't need to change it. But what we do need to change is once we press the right mouse button, we are going into this melee position. So this is the idle. This is basically an idle from this pack called Sword and Shield. No. It is a pack called Axe and Shield. Yeah, Axe and Shield. And this is the idle, basically. So when we press the right mouse button, we can use this one when our hammer is equipped. Or maybe you have an axe or a baseball bat or a machete or a knife. And then you can see I have a so-called timer trace, which works with an anim notify. Not a notify, a state, anim state. So this is what you want to set up. You can see it triggers 4 times. It means it could potentially damage your zombie up to 4 times in one hit, theoretically. It's not going to happen because the zombie is not, let's say, 5 meters fat. So this is why it's not going to happen, obviously. But it could happen sometimes that that the zombie or the creature or the demon is getting more than once, like a damage like more than once, okay? But this is not a big deal. We can also set this one up later. So when he gets damaged, so when actor gets hit, right? I think this is, I will show you later. Or I will show you in the future episode. You can just set it up that once he gets hit, that we do like a cooldown, a timer cooldown. So he gets hit. So this is what I wanted to say. He gets hit once, and then there's like some sort of timer. Okay? And then you can also just re-equip your weapon. The first thing you're going to do, like always, you import your melee. In my case, it's hammer. You have an image, you have materials from your textures, okay? From your textures, so I'm using 2 material slots. You have your mesh. Make sure you import this right away as a skeleton mesh. And you have the right skeleton automatically. You don't really need the physics asset. So yeah. Image, so make sure, this is what I always do in Blender. I set up a nice position, get a nice environment texture, like an HDRI. Usually I use like a really foggy, overcast HDRI, so I have really soft and equal lighting. And then I also add a little bit of like a spotlight on top to make it pop out a little bit. So maybe this is a little bit too bright, right? Okay, but still, this is good. So yeah, you have everything. You have your materials. So I have 2 slots for this material. The next thing you do is, again, you go inside your inventory. From your master item, you create a child. You open up your newly created child, which is going to look like this. Okay? Don't need that. And what you're going to do is you click on the PP item melee weapon, In my case, I will also now call it hammer. So for you, it's your melee weapon. BP item hammer. Then I go and get my inventory slot image. Then I also have this storage image. So make sure you always have also something for storage. Make sure that all your inventory images are set compression settings to user interface 2D, and the texture group is UI, okay? So you're saving a little bit of performance while you're working. The item skeleton mesh, of course, is your new weapon. The same is for the skeleton mesh here. Also set this weapon here in the skeleton mesh, okay? And you have these materials. Make sure that you apply your materials. So you go inside your skeleton mesh, okay? Here. You go inside your skeleton mesh and you set the material here right in the beginning. Or right from the beginning, okay? Then it's always applied automatically and you don't need to reapply it every single time. Good. You are set for this one. You open up the inventory folder again. You go inside the BP master item. And what you also need to create in your master item next to use shotgun animation, you're going to use is use hammer animation, because when we close this one, we can now go inside our new melee weapon and we can set this one hammer animation, or in your case maybe knife or axe animation or baseball bat animation. You can just use hammer animation and click this on this new item, not the master, this child, to true. Because when we set this, when this weapon is our current weapon, all those values will be read by Unreal Engine. Okay? And then we know immediately know, oh, this is true. Alright, we need to update our animation with this boolean. Alright, then you are set, and we can start with the AC inventory. Weapon trays. Okay, this is the one we already have. Why do I have two event graphs? Okay. Yeah, so what you need to do, you need to go into your event graph because we need to do a custom event. Because this whole timer by event stuff is always connected to an event, so we do actually need to set an event. We need a socket location, okay? And this means we need first this BP item as a variable, and we need the location, start and end. So how we do this? It's pretty simple. You set up pretty quick into your inventory your new weapon, skeleton mesh. Okay, you open that one up. On the root node, you do add socket. 2 sockets, okay? The first socket is called hammer end, or whatever weapon you have. So make sure it's an end, and the second one, so add another one, add socket, start. So you have 2, start and end. This is it, okay? When you click on start, make sure that this is the starting point of your damage. So the starting point when you're using, for example, a hammer, in my case would be the starting point here, the back of the hammer, and end would be the front of the hammer. When you have a blade, okay, and the blade, let's say, is starting here, your starting point would be here, and the end point would be here. Okay, so you know what I mean. This is just like the whole space, or like the whole area of a weapon you wanna have damage, or you wanna deal damage with. Okay, so in my case, the hammer is just the back of the hammer, start, and end is like the front of the hammer. Okay. Now I think this is going to make sense for you. When you have this, make sure that you don't forget those names. And then you need to create this for our function. Alright? So you might have guessed it. When we go to grab item, check this please. We know it's not a stackable item. So we know it goes here. We know that we have this item type. So I already have this item type. I renamed my knife to hammer. Just make sure you have this. From there, you create a new boolean. You call this boolean your new melee weapon in inventory. Set this to true and put it behind this item type, okay? After this, connect it to the destroy actor. This is pretty important because when we pick it up, we know this is true because it's in our inventory. At the same time, you open up the inventory widgets, inventory slot, and you have those buttons for your inventory. So your inventory needs to also work. Make sure that your melee weapon here is also connected right to the equip. In my case, this node here is connected to the equip button. So make sure that your set visibility, which is connected to your equip button, that this one is going straight into this one. Okay? And yeah, and then it goes to active viewport, which is basic stuff, you know that already. So this one is now also set, so don't forget this button here. Then we want to add items to storage, right? So we are still here in our inventory slot, And we created this yesterday. So add items to storage. Let's see what we need to do here. We also need to create a macro. You can see here. Your new weapon needs a macro. And this macro, just create one here, okay? Call it hammer equipped. Open this one up. And get the current weapon like all the other macros we have here for this function. Current weapon, get class, from the class, search equal, okay? Just equal, this one, equal your new weapon. You just created, this is the children blueprint. Okay, BP item and your melee weapon. This is it. So you can just duplicate this macro because you have this already for the other weapons. If you're not duplicated this, the true is one output and called successful and not successful, and the false, just make another output here, just click on the plus, and the false is connected to so-called not equipped output. Just make sure it's like this, okay? Because if it is not successful here, your new weapon, it goes straight into the return node, which is success is false. It's not a success. If it's not equipped, if the weapon is not equipped, we can remove it. Okay, so then it just goes, the not equipped output just goes here, because it's not a stackable item, so it goes into this macro. Okay, when you open that one up, you don't need to change anything. Good. Update weapon. Oh, I have a typo here. Weapon. Wait. Weapon. Update weapon in inventory. This is also something you need to update. So in your item type, you have your new melee weapon. Get this boolean in inventory, which is true when we pick it up. You did it in the grab item function. And now here it is false because we put this into the storage. When it's not equipped, we put this into storage. Otherwise we can't. So this one is false. And the next time we put this back into our storage, then it's in our inventory, right? Good. Let me just close everything here. Yes, so this means we need to also go and search for this function where we put it back to our inventory, right? And then we are good. Let's go to storage slot, the widget blueprint. You don't need to do anything here in the update storage slot function because it's not a stackable item. So you only need to connect it to this stuff here because it's not stackable. You can only connect this one here. So make sure it's connected. Okay, but you don't even need to connect it because only this one is important. Only the picture, the storage item image. This one you don't even need to set because it's not a stackable item. Okay, there will never be an integer projected, never an amount. Okay. Then we stay in this slot because on mouse button down. Sorry, not this slot. The storage slot. Sorry for that. We need to check something. On mouse button down. This is also pretty important. Take items from storage. Okay? When we take items from storage, we have, for every weapon, we have this shotgun bullets to inventory. We don't need it because it has no bullets, right? But let me see. Remove, and when we add it to our inventory, do I have the stuff? Because we need to set it to true when it's in our inventory. I don't have it, right? I forgot that. Just when we take items from storage, we also need to set the boolean is in inventory to true. And I believe I forgot that. Let me just print this. This is a good practice. Let me just get the AC because I'm not sure. Maybe it's hidden somewhere. Let me get this is revolver in inventory. Let me print this one. So if it stays false, we need to update. We need to implement this. So is revolver in inventory. So now it's false. And when where's the revolver? Yeah. Now it's true, right? And now it's false. Yes. And when we take it, it should be true. And it's false. So we need to set it for all the weapons. Okay. So we are 100% certain this one is not updated. So we need to go into our storage slot. And when we take items from storage for all the weapons, we need to consider the hammer in inventory and set this one to true. So this one is true. Okay. And let me get space. Okay. And let me put this one here. And now we get the shotgun in inventory, set this to true, this is shotgun, so this is only for the shotgun, goes here. And then we get the revolver is in inventory, set this to true, and the revolver is here, this one, reconnected. And the pistol is in inventory, set this also to true. So every time this function fires, okay, it's again in our inventory. And we need that, otherwise we will have bugs later when we do stuff. For example, the reload would not be, we will have bugs in our reload. When we store items and we don't set them back to true when we grab it. This is not good. Okay, yeah, make sure you have this one. And now we're set. Now your storage is also updated. Let me just double check everything, so because I don't want to forget anything here. Inventory slot. Okay, add items to storage. We did that. This is the hammer equipped. We're checking this. And then we can store it only if it's not equipped. Hide and show. We update the weapon. Yes, this one is set to false when we put it into our storage. And we are fine. We're good to go. Okay. Good. Now, where did we stop? We did stop here, right? I told you, you have to create this. So what you need to do now, we need to equip weapon, because we need to actually equip. You have the current weapon. This is always the initial equip, always our pistol. And then we do know when we equip something from our inventory, our current weapon is also, is always the pistol at first. Then we destroy this one. Before we actually equip, we destroy this pistol. And then we basically just get a new weapon. It cannot be the pistol, of course, right? But it could, no, it actually can. We can basically just re-equip the pistol. It doesn't make any sense, but we actually, technically we can. Yes. But we can also connect different types of weapons. So create another boolean. Just go here to macro and create another boolean. I advise you to just click on this one, equip pistol, Control D. Click on this and just duplicate the equip pistol and rename this duplicate to equip to your melee weapon. In my case, equip hammer. Then drag this over here. Open this one up. Now this is your pistol duplicate, right? Because you duplicated this one. So you only need to change your socket name. So in case you don't have a socket name for your character, right? Then you just go here into your RE character. Okay. I don't need that. I need the viewport. Open up the skeleton mesh of your character. And again, you know this already. Hand _ R, right click, new socket, add socket. Name the socket, in my case, hammer. Right click on this and add a preview asset, your new weapon. And just click on it. And then you basically see as a preview your new weapon. And then you can just click on this socket here and you can just press spacebar. Sorry. And then you can just move it. Like so. Okay. And then also do another preview animation. Maybe let's do, or maybe I called this one machete. I have my new animations. I need to rename them to hammer. So this is the idle for my hammer. And then you can just pause and then just put it inside here. Okay. So it looks right. It looks good. Rotate it, move it until it looks really, really nice. And also do an idle. So check at least 2 or 3 different animations. Okay. Until it looks right. And then you have this socket. Okay. You called it hammer in this case. And then you can just go back to the AC inventory to your new macro. Okay. And you just have this socket name you just created. In my case, it's hammer. You get the BP item hammer here. Okay. Then you delete this pistol because you duplicated this pistol equip. You delete this pistol BP. And right click, before you do that, compile and save, okay? Because maybe this one is not updated. Then click on right click and then promote to variable. Okay, just promote to variable. Then you have a new variable here and just call it hammer and connect this one completely. And you also connect this one to current weapon. Okay, so this is all connected and the current weapon is the target. And then you have the new socket name is also hammer, okay? And this is it. Now you have a new equip. And you put this macro to your new melee weapon. After this, you drag out and you put this inside this equip weapon effects, which is just this one. So it's okay. It's not mandatory, but Yeah, you're done. Now you can go back. Let's close everything, okay? Yeah. You click on this plus, then you have a new function, okay? You have an input and you have an output. Click on the output and create two vectors. The first one is called start, the second one is called end. Then you get the BP you just set in your equip, right? So once you equip this as data, this means you go into your new weapon, BP, and get it. Okay, this is your BP item hammer, your children blueprint. From there, get the skeleton mesh again. But you don't even need to get it because, you need to get it because you didn't duplicate it. Skeletal mesh. So you get this, from here you drag out. Get skeletal mesh. And this is always the get skeletal mesh asset skeleton mesh. Get this one, okay? And this is it. From the skeleton mesh, you only need this one. You drag it inside this get socket location, which is called hammer start, or how you call it. In my case, hammer start. Also skeleton mesh to hammer end. You connect this one to start, and you connect this one to end, and save. And this is it. Go into the event graph and do it here. Okay, get this note here. In the event graph, you do custom event, add custom event. You call this one hammer trace start or melee trace start. From there, set timer by event. Then you get this one, you have this already. Get this one, not get, set. So do it like so, set, or connect those. Okay? Then, from the event you drag out, add another custom event. This is the another custom event here, right? I called mine hammer trace duration. Okay? From there, from the hammer trace duration, drag out from there and get a sphere trace by channel. This one, not multi. This sphere trace by channel. Connect that one like so. Then you can get your macro hammer socket location. You prepared this one already. And start goes into start and end goes into the end. Then the radius, do 10, which works pretty good. Do 10. Draw debug type, the type for duration, yes. And draw time, leave it at 1 second, okay? Now the last event, add custom event. You call this one hammer trace end or melee trace end. Then you get, this is what you already did in the function, we deleted this, get clear and validate this one, clear and validate timer by handle. And you connect this one up, and this is also connected, okay? Also, if you want to deal damage later when we want to deal damage to our creatures, we can just from here, break, hit result, this is what you will do later, and on impact point, you can, from here, you can cast to BP zombie, for example, and then boom, deal damage. There's also a node called apply damage. You can get this one, and then the damage actor would be when you go on impact point, here, cast to BP RE, or you can just do here, cast to BP, for example, your zombie. You have your zombie here. And then you can get this zombie is the damaged actor. Good, okay. So now you have all this. Okay? Good. So now what you need to do, you get your montage. So you have, obviously, you have animations for your new weapon. Okay, prepare those animations. So I have the idle, jog forward. This is like holster and unholster. We are going to set this one up in the end. Yes, and I have this machete walk backwards and walk forward, okay? Good. Now, you create, because you have an attack animation, obviously, you need to have. Right-click on your animation, attack animation, and just create an animmontage. Drag this animmontage into your montages folder, okay? When we go into the montage folder, open your melee attack, set everything you want, like rate scale, so maybe it's too fast, too slow, set everything, maybe you shorten it, you need to shorten it a little bit. If you need to shorten it, you need to do it inside the animation sequence, okay, not the montage, and the animation sequence, but then you have to recreate your montage, okay, you have to recreate it if you want to shorten it. So make it shorter if needed inside your animation sequence, and then create a montage. Okay, so we have two things here. Get two channels. The second channel here, this is one I showed you already. Just get this anim state, like right click, anim state, and use this disable input. I showed you this in the last episode, the last couple of episodes. It's pretty simple. The begin, this is an anim notify state, okay? We did this one already. I will show you again. When you create a blueprint called anim notify state, you have an override begin and end. On begin, you get this owner player character, player controller is here, and character is here, the target, and this is disable input, and this is return node. On end, you do the same stuff from the BP character. You get its aiming, and you set this to false. Also from the BP character, you get aim pitch and set this to 0. So this is both reset to false and 0, okay? From the get owner, you get the player character again. From there, you get the player controller again. Player controller is this, and character is also the target, but this time it's enable input. This is it. We close this because this is everything you need to do for this enum state, and you call it disable input. Then you just get this one. At notify state, you get this disable input you just created, put it inside here, you start right here on the very first frame, and I think usually what works best is during the end of the montage, you can enable the input again. So just drag the state until approximately here, so when you're done slashing, okay? The other channel, you do at notify, so you need to create another notify. This one, I will show you as well, and it notifies, hammer. So make a folder in your notify called hammer or melee weapon, right click, blueprint class, and get enum notify. This one, the upper one, just enum notify. Those are presets. No, you just need notify. When you open this one up, you only need, why is it opening a state? Oh, sorry, it is a state. Sorry for that. It's not a notify. Sorry, it's blueprint class, and then enum state. Sorry for that. It's the enum state. Just get this state. And then the same stuff, you take the begin and you take the end. The begin is get from the mesh component, get owner, from there cast the BPRE character to your character. From the character, you drag and get the AC inventory. From the AC inventory, now you get your E hammer trace start. This is your event. It is blue here, but it's an event. Okay? You get this one, the custom event you just set up. This is the begin. On end, you get the same stuff, the same shit. But this time it's E hammer trace end. Okay, just replace this. On an end, it's trace end. And this is it. Nothing else you need to do. Alright, now, where did we stop? So you have all this. This is fine. Let me just think and re-evaluate for a little bit. Where did we stop? Oh, okay, I know where. We are done here completely, right? Okay, you don't need to do anything here. The whole event chain, or this chain of events, is perfectly fine. Just make sure when you go inside this socket location, okay? Make sure that this hammer, you get the skeleton mesh, and this hammer is your current weapon. If this weapon is not equipped, you cannot find this, okay? So make sure your hammer, when you equip it, that this hammer is correctly set in your equip function, okay? It needs to be, once you equip it, it needs to be the BP item hammer, okay? So when you have this equip function here, equip weapon, we always go this way here. Here for your new weapon, this is the equip function, okay? BP item hammer, the new socket name we just set, and this one was pistol before or something else, just delete it and get from here, or promote to variable. If you don't promote to variable, just get it from here, in case you have it, but it must be the BP item hammer, okay? Good, and then you connect this to the current weapon. If this is all set, and you have this connected here, okay, like so, everything is fine. Good. Now we actually want to use this this montage, right? Okay, let's do it. So we open up the player BP event graph. Every time we aim, it's not going to change, okay? Every time we aim, it's not going to change. Because when we open up our character, NMVP, so go into your animation blueprint, you need to set this one up. You get this one from a current weapon. This is what I told you before. You get now the new boolean. Use hammer animation. This one is part of your master BP item, BP master item. But this one is only true inside your new melee weapon, inside the hammer BP item, because this is where we set it to true. Make sure you have it. Because when the current weapon, I did show you a couple of seconds ago, this current weapon is now set to the BP item hammer, and this means this is now true. And this is a live check. This is a live event inside our NMVP. This one is always updating, always, every single time. This means, once this is true, you do create here on plus a boolean called hammer equipped, and then you set this one. You just connect it here, you just hook it up behind shotgun equipped, and you use this value and connect it. This means that once this is true, then this boolean will also be true. And this is getting an update every single time. So this means when you have this, okay, from your AC, the current weapon, then you can go to the anim graph. Now, what you need to do is you only need to go into your locomotion. You don't need to do this because this is just what I want, but you don't need to do this. You go inside your locomotion. You set up a new state. How can you do that? You just drag out from here and add state. And then you call this state, okay? You call this state aim hammer or aim knife, something, what you have. Then you drag an arrow into here and you drag from here back. So from idle to aim, you have this condition here. Double click. This one is called is aiming. So this is what you always do. This boolean is aiming and is hammer equipped at the same time. Only then we will trigger this stuff. Okay? I will show you in a bit. And back, from aim back to idle, it is only is aiming not. This is enough. Is aiming not. Okay? So you have this, pretty simple. Inside your aim hammer, you need a blend space. Okay? I called this new blend space aim hammer. This is pretty simple. You go into your blend spaces folder and you have something called aim gun. This is the blend space 1D. Just duplicate this one and rename this to BS aim hammer. When you open this one up, it is already set up for you. Pitch, everything, but you don't need to change anything here. The only thing you need to change is this one. Your hammer idle, right? In this case, it must be a hammer idle. Or maybe you have some kind of like aim animation for your melee weapon, I don't know. So this is the center, right? You don't need to put anything here because this is like aiming down, just delete it and aim up. You don't need it, you only need the center. You're not even using like this -1 or 1. This is only, it's always 0. Because, so only change those animations, this is it. Because the pitch is not connected. You see here, we have a pitch, aim pitch, which is connected to our player when we press a button. And this gets changed. But this is always 0. So even if you press up or down, this will always stay on 0 because it's just a straight attack. Okay? Good. Let's go back into the aim graph. And this is it. Yeah, this is it. Yeah. Okay. This is why I need this. Good. Now let's continue finally. Sorry for that. So now you see what I'm doing here basically. You can just set it up, but this is all about preference and also this is about something, it depends on your animations. So yeah. So when the hammer is equipped, I need the slot again, and then we are not layering blend per bone when we have the hammer equipped because I want to have the whole body playing this animation. It just looks better. This is the only thing. Good. So now you're all set. You did this whole thing here, okay? Good. And you also have this use hammer animation connected to your boolean you created here from your AC inventory, current weapon. Good. And now I need to explain to you the RE character montages, your attack montage. I told you already, you need this, but this is where we stopped explaining. Right click, add notify state. Now we continue. Add notify state and you get your new hammer notify state. We call it, or I called it, hammer trace. Okay? I called it hammer trace. When you open this one up, this is what you already have, right? I believe. This is what we did. Begin and end. I did explain to you everything here in detail. So this is why you just right click here and get this one, okay? And now you have to basically see here when will be a good point for you, like a good location here inside your animation. For me it's here, right? Until boom, until here. So when you swing, this should be your state, begin and end, okay? Now you need to go back to your AC inventory, and then inside your event graph, because we need to set up events, you have this already. Make sure this time here is, for example, 0.02 or 0.05 or 0.1, something like this. I tried 0.1, which was a little too slow for me. Then I tried 0.05, 0.02. The lower the value, the more you will trigger this. Like the more these things you will trigger, and then you have more damage, or like several triggers during this one swing. When you have 0.1, for example, it could be too slow. It depends, okay? So make sure that you play with those values here. So usually a value of 0.02 until 0.1 is best. works good. And then you need to check your state. And then you can just click on looping. Okay. And this is it. Looping. And down here, switch race by channel, just do for duration here. And 1 second should be fine. And then just test your montage. I mean, yes, I will show you how to do the montage. This is also something I need to show you. Okay, but you can see. Yeah. So it should look like something like this. Maybe this is a little too much. Maybe I should go to 0.03. Just a little, maybe this one a little earlier, like so. Maybe this is better. Yeah, this is better. Okay, now it's basically preventing having like multiple damages. So we can even increase the time a tiny bit. Okay. So, but let me just get back to 0.2. And let's see now. So you need to test this one out. Maybe this is more safe. Okay, so it depends on this value. This value is pretty important. And also the, like how long this is, okay? But you might need to set it a little earlier because it always has like a slight delay here. The time is also, it's called like how long to wait before executing the delegate in seconds. So yeah, so make sure that you set this one a little earlier. Okay, so it depends on this value here and also on this. Good, but now you need to actually cast it, okay? You actually need to cast your montage, and this is where you go into the shooting function. Inside the shooting function, pretty simple. You see your melee here in the item type. This is like so. In Hammer, I connect this straight to the play anim montage. Because we don't need to check an aim pitch. It's always 0. It's always. So we can just straight connect this one. Boom. Okay. And then after this, we are always playing when we have a weapon. We play this weapon trace. But we already have a trace. This is only for our bullets. So when we already have a trace, we just get this one. We get our BP item hammer. And then we check is valid, question mark. Okay. And if it's not valid, we are not having our hammer, okay? Our hammer is not equipped. Then we can use the weapon trace. But if it's the hammer, if the hammer is valid, then the only thing we do is just playing a sound. And the sound is, in my case, this. Okay? Just like punching air sounds, you can get them from the internet and maybe just prepare them, make them sound good, chop them up. And this is it. So if it's not valid, we are already playing our montage. We don't have the trace. The trace is inside our montage. We know that, so we can skip this. But instead, if our hammer is valid, we just play a sound. And if it's not valid, it can only be pistol, revolver, or shotgun. Okay, let me try this. That our trace is working for the other weapons. It is. So this means our melee weapon is not valid. This is why we're still playing this function. Okay. And also the pistol. Yeah. And this is also why I have a fire cooldown. I removed the fire cooldown from my player BP, and now I have this fire cooldown in my as an anim notify, which means once I shoot, I have this disable input state. I showed you, right? You just click on another, insert a new notify channel. I showed you this already. Just insert a new notify channel, right click on this, and then add notify state or add new state. And it's called disable input. I showed you this in this episode. And then you can just, like, from the start until maybe like the whole montage, shooting montage, you can just use the whole disable input. This means that you cannot spam the fire button. So I'm spamming the button, and I have basically a fire cooldown. Okay? So I can also just pick it up, the new weapon, and we can store it. Okay? And we can put it back. Good. And also, let me check the inspection scale. I don't have an inspection scale, right? Oh, this is already nice. We don't need to change it. No, I think this is fine. I think you can also, if you want to, this is not part of this episode, but if you want to, you can also, inside your inspect blueprint, add a light. Because we're always triggering the inspect, right? You can just go into your inventory, inspect, inspect item, and we do know that we have a render target here, right? Here's our render target. And our skeleton mesh is here, so this is the place where our mesh will always get spawned. So what you can do is you can just, in your inspect item here, you can just add a spotlight, or maybe just a light. Let's add a spotlight, okay? And then just put it down, like let's do -90. Or maybe let's do something, maybe a little bit of like so, and just boom, okay? Something like this. Let's compile and save. Let's try. So every time we inspect, you can see it has a light. Okay? And I think this is pretty good, because when you have a dark environment, you need to add a spotlight anyway. So then you can also just change its values inside the BP inspect item to make it a little stronger, maybe add make the cone, let's do intensity is fine. Let's do attention radius maybe 500. Inner cone, let's do 20. Outer cone, let's do 35 maybe. Yeah, something like that. And then you can just compile and save. Just play with those values until it's fine. Inspect. Yeah. Now that looks nice. Now we are talking. Yeah. And I like inspect. I can even set this a little bit higher. I'm sorry that we're now having like a different topic here, but this is something you also need to do. And you still can learn something here, I believe. Inspection scale. So of course it is inventory and then inspect. And we have this inspect items. And for the knife, I just call it hammer. And then in the defaults, I go to hammer and set this one to 0.2, 1.2, not 0.2, 1.2. Save. And then we can go into the BP inspect item. Let's close this. Let's do the event graph. And you do know this already, right? Just copy this one. Let's get a copy from here. Oh, it is already connected. Sorry for that. It is already connected. So hammer, right? I'm not sure why, but I did set this one up already. Good. So just make sure that this one is also set to a value you like. What is this? Ah, okay, it is the red herb. Sorry for that. Compile and save. And then let's see if this one is good. Maybe it's a little too big. I don't know. No, actually it's perfect. It's not touching those edges. Yeah, it's perfect. Good. Yeah, good. Do I need to show you something else? Before I forget something, do I need to show you something? No, let me just quickly re-evaluate for you. So you're inside this shoot function, right? You trigger this with your left mouse button when you aim. Just make sure, again, hammer, your melee is connected straight onto this montage. Yes, we do need to add something. Yeah, I show you. And then you have this, alright? If this hammer is valid, you don't play this. But it's not valid, it can only be pistol or any other shootable weapon. It will have a weapon trace. Okay? Good. And then you need to do something. You need to go inside your hammer, children blueprint, and you need to set your montage, of course. Use this slot, shooting montage center. And get this montage, okay? This montage, we did set up our trace and the disable input. Okay? Here, trace and input. Because when you set this one, we are feeding this from here, shooting montage center. And if this is hammer, we are playing this montage, okay? And this is it. Okay. So I hope you like this one, this episode. So yeah, we did everything. Yeah, I believe. Now you're good to go. You should have everything now set up. Okay.